Good morning. And I want to thank each one of you for being here and joining us this morning to a subject that is certainly dear to my heart and one I live virtually 724. That's inclusion. Inclusion of children primarily, because that's my program and my project at the university, but inclusion of persons throughout the lifespan into the community, and that's all phases of the community, so that they have a full, successful, enjoyable, happy life with persons their own age and enjoying what they're doing. My name is Gay Clement Atkinson. I recognize a few of you that I haven't seen in a long time, and it's really good to see you this morning. I'm going to apologize right off because I am having to sit this morning, but this week, thank goodness, I could walk in here. 3 weeks before this, I too have been using a wheelchair. And I will tell you, it was the experience of a lifetime, because it's the first time in my life I've ever been confined to the use of a wheelchair. Very freak accident, but confined to the use of a wheelchair. And what I found out in trying to teach classes, I also had a statewide presentation in Myrtle Beach, and just getting around my own house was absolutely frustrating. It is. And that our public areas are not accommodating. Okay? They may say they are, hotels, etc., but they are not. And it was quite an eye-opener for me, to say the least, with that. But I also want to invite you, please, as I'm talking about inclusion, I'm going to talk about literally from birth to death. I'm going to talk a little, I'm going to kind of jump around on you this morning, and I know I have a lot of different interests in here and different ages in here that you're interested in and what may be available and what kind of we do. I am the director of the ABC Special Needs Program, and the key word there is special needs. I'm at the Center for Disability Resources at the University of South Carolina. Our program is federally funded, which means that when we go into child care, we go into any community center, faith-based, recreation, homes for children birth through 18 years of age. It cuts off when they reach their 19th birthday. There is absolutely no cost to the provider, to the parent, to the faith community for us to come in. And the services we provide are consultation, which is directly with the child, the parents as well as the child care providers. We provide technical assistance in the areas of setting up so that the site, be it home or a child care center, is accommodating to the child, as well as materials, equipment, activities, how to set up the curriculum in the program during the day. We will work with that transition when the child reaches 18 and they may be out of school or they may be attending an adult daycare program. That's not in our federally funded birth through 18, but we will work with them and make that transition across to help provide information there as well. And we provide training, here again, at no cost to all the above. So if you know of any family that possibly is looking for child care, more likely has been told, I'm full, I cannot accommodate your child, please call us and let us know. I did not put that particular information, so I'm going to tell you now, and you can write it on your PowerPoint or one of your slides. Again, my name is Gay, G-A-Y, hyphenated last name, Clement Atkinson. You can reach me best at 803-360-2548. Any additional info, email, fax, etc., I'll be glad to talk with you individually. Okay. I realize that I've been in the lower part of the state all week, so when I got back to the office yesterday and these were run off, that was information I had forgotten to put on the back. Inclusion. What is inclusion, if we stop and think about it? I love this slide and this saying. The woods would be very silent if no birds sang there except those that sang best. And I think if we think about just that saying, I can't sing, period. Y'all can tell nearly by my voice how low it is. I laugh and tell them that if they need another bass, I'll be glad to join them in, okay? But I do not carry a note. So no one ever asked me to sing in the choir or really participate singing. So I think that's one of the reasons I like this for inclusion, because no one's ever going to ask me to sing. And you know what? I love to sing. Now at home, I can sing in my shower, I can sing in my kitchen, and nobody cares. Doesn't matter how off key it is, right? So this little saying is very dear to me for that reason. But it also has much, much broader meaning for all of us. I'm going to tell you now that as we go through this morning, you're going to hear me say, and you're also going to see written. I only use the word disability when it's federal law and it's there and I have to use it. I also do not use the word special or the term special needs. Every one of us in this room has special needs. Okay? What I like and what I really started, and those of you that come to know me, and certainly all the programs and agencies in this state know, that about 8 or so years ago, children with different needs and abilities, adults with different needs and abilities, persons with different needs and abilities. And I heart done it so that I'm very happy to tell you most of them converted now, okay? They use the term different needs and abilities. And I have had so many positive comments back from parents about how much more they like that term, how much more respectful it is. Even the children themselves, as they become teenagers and are around and a lot of the things we're doing, and particularly a lot of the inclusive activities, they like the term better. Because just as every one of us in this room has special needs, every one of us in this room also has different needs and abilities. And certainly we use our abilities to meet the needs. So you will see, you'll hear me referring in that manner, and you will also see that written in that manner. And the reason I don't like dis, every one of us, what does dis mean?
Dysfunction.
Can't function. Not there. Void, right? I have never, ever in my life met a child or an adult that had no ability whatsoever. Therefore, just one of my pet peeves. But what does inclusion mean? What does inclusion mean to you? In this larger group and with our time frame, I won't ask for volunteer responses. But think about it for a moment. What does inclusion mean to you? Inclusion means welcome. Welcome to anyone with different needs and abilities who has been left out in any way to come in and participate, and that is a key word. Not sit, not observe, not just be there, but participate in social and community activity with same-age peers. I'm using social and community here in its broadest terms. Socialization meaning anywhere, anytime you are interacting with people. And the community being our child care, our schools, our faith communities, our recreation departments, anything that goes on. We in Columbia, so fortunate to have downtown events, to have in the park events, anything within the community that is open. Okay? Feelings and beliefs. What are our feelings and beliefs about inclusion? I would dare say with this group and this conference, that our feelings and beliefs about inclusion are for full inclusion. Am I correct in that? But I will tell you, in teaching classes, y'all know this as well, because everyone in this room, I'm sure, is an advocate. So in teaching classes and going into different settings, childcare settings as well as community settings, that is not an across-the-board opinion for full inclusion at all. And certainly, the more severely involved the person, be it child or adult, the more hesitant and the more no's we're going to receive for full inclusion. For many, many reasons. We're going to talk about a lot of those reasons. And I am going to ask you to participate in your thoughts and all as we go through this morning. Because how many of you in here are parents or family members of a person, a child, with a different need or ability? So you know exactly where I am with the term full inclusion, or just inclusion. I don't even use the full on it anymore. It's just inclusion. Okay? So it's not about a room or a placement or a school or so forth. It's how we deal with diversity, how we deal with difference, how we deal with life experiences. And if you think about that for a moment, I dare say most of us in this room deal differently because we have a family member that has a different need and ability, or we were raised within a family that had a member with a different need and ability. And that certainly changes the perspective of a family or a person if you've never been in that position. Why does the humble proposal, welcome everyone, evoke such strong reactions? Why is welcoming people labeled disabled, here again, different needs, abilities, seems such a radical activity? Why is it so difficult? In many, many, particularly when I'm teaching first-year students, I ask at this point, if I just say the word disabled, what's the first picture? What's the first thoughts that come to your mind? And what I typically get back, and this is high percentage, is amazing. I think of that person in the wheelchair who can't do anything for themselves. That is high percentage. Answer, picture in their mind, and answer I get back. As we continue on through the class and through the semester, and they find out even that child or adult in the wheelchair who is totally dependent on someone else may not have their intellectual ability affected at all. And can you imagine being that individual who can hear, who can see, who can feel of what they might think of passing persons on the street? Y'all seen the looks, okay? Even heard the words of what they might feel. That's probably, that evokes one of the strongest interactions we have in a class. As to, I thought they could, I didn't realize they knew what I was doing. I didn't realize they could see me. Y'all know where this conversation's going. And it probably is one of the most dramatic and strongest and impressive times of teaching a class. And I use it kind of the first of classes so that when we reach the areas of all areas of different needs and abilities, go from mild to severe, they're much more willing now to accept the range and not just go to one area. See? Why do so many apparently normal adults lose their composure with the mention of including a person with different needs and abilities? In child care, about 1 to 2 times a month, we're either going to receive a call back from the director of that particular center or from possibly another parent in that center. And I'm going to give you an example of what happened the 1st of January with a center that's in the upper part of the state that accepted a child for the first time. We had gone in. We had provided technical assistance for this particular child because there was a mobility problem. Well, he uses a wheelchair, okay? So we wanted to look at how it was set up and could the child, as a 4-year-old, typically he was coming, yes, after, he was in pre-4 school, so he was coming after school, but how much independence could we allow and set up in that class to make it safe for him? He was in the class, and the 3rd day, I got a call from the director that said, I'm going to lose 2 of my children if I keep, I'm going to use the name John, if I keep John, because the parents are so irate that he's here and their children are going to get sick, that I can't afford to lose my other children. Therefore, I'm going to have to ask, I did ask John's mother that Friday is the last day and she can find another center. Does anyone here, can you even think of what was the base to that? Why that call came?
Cost.
Pardon?
All of them. Cost.
We know that many children that have cerebral palsy do not have control of salivation. This child did not have control of salivation. Therefore, it was 3 to 4 times a day. And one of the things we had done before he was in the center, Mom was using a large bib, and we said, no, not age appropriate. Let's go. Mom, go to Kmart, go to Walmart, go anywhere. And let's buy some Superman and Spider-Man and all these other kind of hand towels, right? And let's use those and not a bib, because that's appropriate for a 4-year-old, which was done. But because he could not control the salivation, and the other parents saw him when they picked up their child, they thought their child was going to catch something bad because of how nasty, how awful the salivation was. So their child wasn't going to stay at the center because of the child that had a different need and ability. It's one of the, I want you to know we don't always have success. We don't really have an emergency program, but this we consider an emergency. So a member of our staff went into the center, met with only one of the other mothers would come. She had decided, absolute, my child comes out or this child goes. One of the mothers did come with the children. So meeting with the mother of the child with a different need, the mother who said, no, my child will catch this or catch something nasty. The director, it was decided, I'm sorry to say at the end, that the director said no. But many times when we do go in and we do meet with parents and we do meet with the director and we do offer technical assistance and we go in and provide training, not only for the staff, but we invite all the parents in so that parents of typical children, whatever typical is, typical children also hear about the different need and accommodations and so forth. So that's our program. And like I say, we're not always successful. We did find different placement for this child. But it was in a home center, not center-based. And this child really needs the socialization. He really needs the camaraderie of other 4-year-olds and the activities of other 4-year-olds. So it wasn't the best. We're still looking. We're still working. But I will say this, particularly in small communities, word spreads. I don't know how a grapevine can go that quickly, but it can. from one center to another one, okay? So we're having problems being able to place this child in a childcare. In danger, there is always an opportunity for growth. And I say that because the number one reason that we still get, and this is after 15, 20 plus years, is fear, liability. What happens if I'm not prepared? I don't have the knowledge. Now, when we indeed are including children that have more severe needs, tracheostomy, colostomy, etc., then we are going to bring in a medical team with mom and dad, hopefully both, but at least one, to train that staff. And they are going to demonstrate, that teacher and that director, back to us, that if there is a clog in the tracheostomy, they know how to open it and clear it. That if they do have to use a feeding tube, they know the procedures for doing that. I would like to say we've been, again, 90% plus successful in including children even at this level of severe disabilities. But there also, we have to overcome the fever. So we're talking usually 5 to 8 visits into that center. Initially, just to get acceptance that I'm willing to be trained and learn, okay? And then, for many of these children, we have to go back to the physician and say, is this a safe setting for this child? Particularly that child that has multiple conditions and is going to get sick very quickly, and we know how everything goes around child care. So a couple of children that we've worked with over the last couple of years, the child care has accepted them, and the physician said, no, I don't want them in with all the other children. So that puts us back to day one, starting again. Inclusion does celebrate diversity and differences with respect. And that's one of the major areas that we want our child care. I've been talking about child care, but please don't think that I'm talking only about public and private child care. We serve many, many faith communities. We have many referrals from faith communities. We go in and we work with a new family that's moved into the community, and the child is now either in the nursery or in a Sunday school class, and the teacher does not know in that class what to do, how to accept that child. Certainly we want the mother, the parent, in there with us when we are giving information about how to serve that child, because no one knows their child better than mom does. We were last year working with a family that had 2 children with autism. This is not that uncommon now, because even though we don't know the reason for autism, we know that heredity is there a high percentage of the time. There were 2, the boys, they were both boys, 2 and 4 years old. The 2-year-old teacher in the church that we were working with, just open arms, acceptance, tell me what to do, working with us to try to understand, working with mom, us setting up, because this was quite different for this child. This was a different place, and when you change the structure and you change the routine and you have persons that are strangers with a child with autism, and you're doing things, this room, may blow your mind for bringing a child or an adult in that hadn't been here before. So 3 to 4 weeks of going through that, and this was the lower part of the state, so we couldn't be there every Sunday. Our program doesn't, if we work on Sunday, you don't get off on Monday. You're there. So we couldn't be there every Sunday. So we were really working with the family and with the teacher in the room. And the 2-year-old teacher was just open arms. Show me, tell me, I'll try. The 4-year-old teacher was absolutely so fearful that she just didn't want to touch any of this. So for over 3 months, Mom or Dad, one, had to totally miss the morning service to stay in the room with the 4-year-old. And after 3 months, the 4-year-old teacher still, no, I can't. I'm afraid something will happen. Let me tell you what we did. We went into the young adult class. There were some college students and some young married students. We went into the young adult class. And we did get Mom's permission. And Mom, as a matter of fact, went that first Sunday with us. And we said to this class, we need 4, 5, 6 people in here that are willing to learn, that are willing to give up your class for one Sunday every 4 to 6 weeks to go down in the 4-year-old class to work with this child, to assist this mom, because this is their respite. There was no other respite for this family at all with these 2 children. We had even a very difficult time. It took 7 months to get the 4-year-old into the pre-4 program at school. I won't tell you where it was, just one of those things. This young adult class, every hand in the room went up. I'm willing, I'm willing, I'm willing. I'll go, teach me. Solution, beautiful. There weren't only 6 of them. They set up like a 3-month calendar. And it was, if you can't come next Sunday, or when your time comes, you call me, you know. It was literally amazing. And what happened from that experience is that this group also started providing respite one time a week, one night a week, on Thursday night. Mom and Dad knew they could plan. This was their night for supper, for a movie, to go shopping, to get groceries, whatever. And the word spread throughout the entire community. Now, the 4-year-old teacher had many, many tears. I respect her to the highest because her fear was so great. She could not adequately and appropriately care for this child for a 2-hour period. And I respect that. And I even appreciate the fact that she was so open and upfront with that. But we can always find a way. We can always find another way around. And this isn't the only time we have gone to other ways. We have been involved with training junior and senior students in high school to have classes for them in order to go into the nursery, to the Sunday school class, as well as Vacation Bible School and summer camps. So when we're working with the activities of a church from A to Z, we will work with that in a technical assistance, which is, let's see the room, let's look at the activities, particularly Vacation Bible School. I love that because y'all know how many activities come with the book of whichever program you choose. Well, we get to go in and look at all these activities and say, how can we modify this if we know the children that's going to be in Vacation Bible School so that they can also participate. So across the board for faith communities as well as private child care and others in the community. The community, the heart of a community, is inclusion. So anything that's going on in the entire community, children and adults with different needs and abilities, should be welcomed and should participate. The community programs are going to benefit both children and adults. And successful inclusion teaches everyone how to learn and get along with each other's differences. In child care particularly, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds they'll just say openly, I'm going to be Billy's buddy today. If Billy is extremely visually impaired or totally blind or uses a wheelchair or is intellectually disabled and still needs some assistance to the routine to going outside and learning it. Children accept differences when we grow up with them, when they grow up with them. They know there's a difference, but they accept them fully and just jump right in and help. Also, typical children learn how to support and also how to help those children that need some additional assistance. And they do it lovingly and gratefully. So the younger that we can, from babies on, include all our children in the same programs, the more they're going to accept differences from each other and know how to support and assist each other. Today, if we stop and just think about today with the technology we have and where we were years ago, even 20 years ago, okay? If we think about this, absolutely amazing, isn't it, of the technology we have. Augmentative communication, persons with different needs and abilities, much more efficient and proficient at using a computer than I am, okay? So if we indeed stop and think about our technology today, we see how far we've come, but we also know how much further we can go. And everyone is working on that. We also have organizations, programs, your respite programs, that realize where families are, what they need, the supports they need, finding all kinds of ways to give families these supports, and really working to provide that. I'm going to now review some of the strategies for different disabilities. Let me stop there for a moment. We're kind of going into a little bit different realm now. Any comments, any questions from you? You're on the front line, most of you in this room, for inclusion. So any comments about inclusion, community activities, faith, even if you want to share an experience that's happened with you?
I was particularly pleased when you mentioned the child that basically drew constantly and outgrew the bib process. I too have a daughter who's 20 and she drew constantly. And forever, what I did, I took a dark blue towel and I used a shower curtain to put a backing on it and the border and everything.